Okay, another method we're going to use to either get your base mesh or the shape you want is using Z-spheres. So what is Z-spheres? It's just a way to build a mesh quickly with these spheres right here. So if you open your Lightbox and you see these projects, there's the Z-spheres, the very end one. If you double click on it, you'll get a new project. Oops, don't want to save. With this sphere on the middle. So we can tell which way is forward with the face on the top here. If we zoom out a bit, what you can do with this is build sort of a mannequin. So you can make it be the proportions you want. So if you look up here, we have move, scale, and rotate, and they're the exact same shortcuts as in Maya, W, E, R. And then to draw more spheres is Q. So it's important to use those so you don't have to be going up and down so much. I'm gonna turn card next so you see me using it. So now when you mouse over it, symmetry should be turned on. If it's not, hit X. But let's say I wanted to make some legs on this. So if I hit Q, I'm already on it, and it's on the top. You can see it says draw. We're gonna click and drag here, and I'm drawing a sphere. And you can draw as big as you want or as small as you want. And there's my spheres drawn. To move it, you would just hit W. So W. We'll move it back here. So now they're both kind of like legs. Or you can move it down. And rotating and moving is from the angle you're looking at it. So you have to pay attention to that. So I'm going to hold shift so it snaps. And move the legs down. Let's say this is the hips. And then I'm going to hit Q again to get the draw again up here. And draw another sphere. Hit W to get the move tool and move this down. Let's say that these are legs. Let me zoom out a bit. And move it up. So now again, hit Q to draw. W to move. Sometimes if you're moving one of the spheres here and you see the other one moving too, it's because the size of the brush. If the brush is too big, like let me make the brush bigger. If I try to move, let's say I'm over here, if I try to move this sphere, see even bigger. You start moving both. So all you have to do is just adjust your brush size. So if you hit S, make the brush smaller. Now you're moving just one of the joints, which is probably what you want, right? So I can move this one too. Let's say these are legs, kind of knee buckling legs. There it is. Now I can go up here. If I want to draw just one thing in here in the middle, I just have to hit Q to draw mode, and then make sure those two little spheres connect into one. So now I know they're, oops. Now I know they're just one. So if I hit Q and then drag, let's say this is gonna be the spine going up, and I can look at it from the side and hit W to move it. Say something like that. Let me just snap by holding shift. The view is kind of crooked. So say this is the spine. I'm gonna go back to the front here again, holding shift to snap, and then hit Q. Make sure I have just one. Draw it, hit W to move it. Look at it from this side. Again, hit Q. W to move it. And if, like, let's say this sphere is too small, you can go back and hit scale up here, or E is the shortcut, just like in Maya. So I can make this sphere bigger. I think you have to drag up and down if you can't see it. Sometimes they're tricky to get in here. Maybe you need to move it a bit. So I'm gonna hit W. Where is it? Right there. Oh, it's moving the top one. That's why. Okay. There we go. So see how I'm trying to move one sphere, but it's moving both? That's because my brush is too big. So if you make it smaller, then you'll just grab one sphere and just move the one. There we go. So let's say I wanted to make that one bigger. I'll hit E to scale, sorry, and drag up or down. You'll see it getting bigger. And then I can hit W and move it down. Let's see. I'll hit this one down to kind of too high. And then go back to drawing arms here. So I'll hit Q. So it's going to be the shoulders. Hit W, move them out. Make sure they're sideways there. Q again, draw all the part of the arm. W, move it down. Q. So very quickly you can make a mesh here. You're probably thinking, well, this, yeah, that's quick, but it doesn't quite look like skin or anything like that. Yeah, you can edit it pretty easily. I'll show you here how that works. So again, if you want to rotate things, you have to look at the right angle to rotate them. So let me just move this sphere back like this. Rotate this one. Let's see, rotate is E. Oh no, that's scale. So R is rotate to something like this, and you can turn off symmetry if you want one side different than the other one. So let's say you have your mesh kind of ready. Let's say, or you have it ready, like you have the base mesh. You only need the base mesh to sculpt on. So if you look on the side here, there's adaptive skin. So if you click on that and click on preview, it will show you what the base mesh will look like. So you have something to sculpt on now. So if the proportions of your character are a little strange, you can't find a base mesh that matches, or your base mesh is way too different from it, you can quickly make somewhat of a base to sculpt on. This is kind of like the mannequin you see for clay sculpting. So once you like it, if you hit make adaptive skin on the bottom here, you will see a skin tool show up in here. So this is the one we're using now. If I click on skin sphere here, I have switched to that model now. So I can actually sculpt on this. Let's say B clay brush. Let's just do clay. So now I can start sculpting here, right? And kind of fill out my model how you want to do it, you know. You have the base already. I'm doing this with the mouse. So it's not looking very good. Let's see. So you have your base mesh here. If you wanted to, let's say you wanted to, forgot to add the fingers or forgot to add something, you still can go back to the other Zphere. So this is a separate tool. If you look down here, this tool is the one we started with. So if I double click on it or click on it, I'm back to the original Zphere. It looks different than the sculpted one, right? So this one's smooth. This one's still pretty close to the spheres. If you go back to adaptive skin here, you can even turn off the preview and you're back to your sphere. So you can move them around. Say, let me make the brush smaller, because if it's too big I'll move everything else, you know. I can modify it. I can add more. I can add fingers here. You know, let's see. You know, I can start adding other things. So this is a quick way to get a base mannequin to sculpt on top of it. So again, you start with the project Zpheres here on the light box is the very last one. Then let me close light box. Then once you sculpt what you want, so again, just using Q to draw, W, E and R to move and scale and rotate. Once you have it, you go to adaptive skin, click the preview, you'll see kind of what it's looking like, and once you like it, you say make adaptive skin, you'll get a new tool in here. Again, you can always go back if you go to Zpheres. If you don't like this name, adaptive scan, let's say, you could rename these things. You could so you have the subtool here. You could rename it to sphere mesh. I don't know what you want to call it. And then if you go back to the other tool, you can name this one instead of skin. Rename it to your character name. I don't know what your character name will be, you know, so you can tell them apart. So it makes things a little less confusing. So that's one method.